Hey folks, hope everybody's doing well and welcome back to the channel. So this is a show that I've wanted to do for a long time, right? The Kiss solo albums. Can we make one really good record out of the Kiss solo albums? Now, um I think some of these albums, and when I've done Kiss rankings before, but some of these would actually have been in my top 10 just to give you an idea how much I enjoy some of these records. But you know, that's again, this is all about opinions. If you don't like the Kiss albums, that's the Kiss solo albums, that's fine. This is just our opinion and nothing else. And to help me, and what we've done is we've decided before I bring Mike on, what we've decided is we're gonna make one really good Kiss album of 12 tracks. So that's sort of and that's it. There's no more rules. Just pick your 12 favorite songs from all four Kiss albums. You don't have to go from, so many, there's no quotas for record to record. Just whatever our favorite 12 songs in those records we think would make a fantastic Kiss album. So let me bring Mike on. Mike is my buddy, my drummer from Rebel Charm. Mike, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. So Mike is a huge Kiss fan, and if you look in his background, you kind of can see that. He's a huge Kiss fan, probably a bigger Kiss fan than I am.
I'm a broke Kiss fan now.
What's that? A broke Kiss
I'm
fan.
a broke Kiss fan. With all the money I've given Gene and Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you've given them more because you're going to go to the end of the road tour, aren't you?
Again.
Yeah. I saw them on this tour way back April of, I can't remember what year, 2018 or something, and that's when they were saying we're only going to hit one city once, and you got to see us because that's the only time we're going to play that city. So they played Toronto in April. They came back in October, and they're coming back again in November. So it's like, yeah, it's okay. I saw the last tour, and I'm good.
Saw it in Buffalo.
You saw it in Buffalo?
Yeah. I mean, that was good, though, because David Lee Roth opened. It was better than the Painter. So
Yeah. I got the Painter. Yeah, I was waiting for the next guy to come up and make the puppets, like balloon puppets. I thought that would be the next.
Well,
next
you hear what they're doing now for this leg of the tour, the opener?
Yeah.
Oh, you heard?
No, I don't. What are they doing?
Oh, it's the cleaner. So instead of the painter, it's a guy who cleans. Like he comes on stage with a mop. And he starts sweeping the stage. So that's going to be the act this year because he's cheaper than the painter. So
So we got the janitor now. Okay, awesome.
Right, yeah.
That's fun. That's funny. Alrighty, so let me. We got a few people here in the chat. Let me just say hello to the few people that showed up. We have. Let's go right back up to the top. We got Rips a lot who says, "Is this even possible? Those albums were more disappointing than the regular Kiss album." I disagree totally with that. Yeah, Pooh Ninja, welcome, Pooh. How are you? Joe Delenza, excited for this one. It'll definitely be a damn good record. Oh, yeah, definitely. Brian S. is with us, Papa Blue. Gary Joyce, there's Quentin. Dan in New Jersey, welcome. Guitar Man 45, Wally in the Box. How you doing? How's everybody doing? All right, so, and there's John Zed, 351. Smack bang in the middle of my work day. I'll try to keep up best I can while I work, but I expect I will cap a few interruptions. No worries, John. Thanks for being here. Alrighty, so we're gonna talk. I want to talk a little bit about the solo albums and when they came out. I mean, September 1978, right? I was at that point. I was like 11 years old, and I remember like when these things came out, I wanted to buy them one at a time, right? Because I wanted to, one day like make every day a special day. Right? One day go out, buy the record, bring it home, listen to it the next day, the next one. So the first, I'm trying to remember the order that I got them in. I think the first one I went out and bought, with my bike because there was a music store up the road. I bought the Gene Simmons record, right, expecting like this really kind of demonic heavy record. Listen to that, I'm like, huh? Yeah, okay, all right. Well, wait a minute. Let me. Tomorrow I'm going to get the Peter Criss record. So I go and I buy the Peter Criss record, thinking that's going to be like a drum heavy rocking record. Put that on. I'm like, okay. It's all these like shockers, right? And then the last trip, I said I'm not going to go one day for Paul and Ace. I'm just going to buy them all at once. And then Now we have our rock. But what was your experience in buying these records, Mike?
Well, I was 6 years old, and I got mine at Kmart. I remember, uh, I was really, for me, Peter Criss is what got me originally into drumming as a kid. I wasn't a drummer back then, but I loved the drummer. So, like, you know, I remember when I went out for the first time to get it, I'm like, I'm gonna get Peter's album because, as you said, yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a drum heavy album. I was thinking of like it's gonna have like hooligan, like I mean, like
Yeah.
that type of vibe to it. And yeah, I remember my dad said you can get one this week, you can get one the week after, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I remember I brought it home and I was so excited, and I put it on my record player, and I'm 6 years old. Remember that, right? And I just remember I'm like, what the hell is this? Like
Yeah.
I was like, I thought maybe I put the wrong record on for a minute.
Yeah. You check the labels. You go, wait a minute. It's his picture on it. What happened?
Exactly. Like it just I remember it was mind blowing in the fact that I was like, what the hell is like I was like really confused because I hadn't heard anything from it, right? So
Right.
yeah, so that was needless to say, that wasn't I thought it was gonna be Kiss, just Kiss music, but Peter singing the songs, right?
Right. Yeah. Me
So
too. Yeah.
my second album was Jeans. A week later, I was like, I remember the very beginning of Radioactive as a 6 year old. It scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. Hosanna. Hosanna.
Yeah, it was like so,
Yeah.
demonic, right? And I remember, yeah, it kind of freaked me out. Although when we did see him, uh, I guess pre-COVID, when you and I went and saw him on his solo tour,
Yeah.
and
In Windsor.
that
Yeah.
was his intro. That just sounded
That
friggin'
was killer. Yeah.
I just wish that he went into Radioactive. I think he opened with Deuce or something, which is cool too, but you kind of expected
You
that.
wanted to hear Radioactive. Yeah.
So yeah, after that was Ace. And yeah, like from the get-go, I was like, oh, I'm like, this is what I was waiting for, right?
Mhm.
Like all the way through. It was just like fantastic, right? Like to me, Ace's album, when we said we were going to pick our favorite songs, I almost felt like, well, can I just throw the whole Ace album in and then,
Yeah.
a couple after that? But and then yeah, Paul's was my last, and I liked Paul's as well. So I kind of wish I got them in a different order, but it happened the way it happened, and
Yeah.
I think like you and I were talking off the before we came on here that I haven't listened to Peter's album in like over 30 years, and I thought your musical tastes change, and I figured
Mhm.
I'll put it on, maybe I'll learn to appreciate it a little bit more, and yeah, didn't happen unfortunately for poor Peter, but
Yeah. That one didn't take. I tell you though, the Gene album did.
oh yeah, yeah, I
The
think there's
Gene
some
album grew on me. I gotta
yeah,
admit, it
yeah,
did grow on me. You know.
mhm,
And we were talking, and the other record I remember buying as a kid and being totally confused was when I bought the Elder, and we
yeah.
were talking about that, and that's another one that, man, over time, those are good songs and they grow on you.
I like it. I still like it. I mean, another one that I love, I think I talked about this last time I was on your show, is Unmasked. I still love
I
that.
love
I
Unmasked.
love that album.
I love that record. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's killer.
yeah.
Yeah, but the fortunately the Peter Criss doesn't never took. It never took.
No, and obviously it was the same with other fans because it charted the least out of any of them, right? So
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do, because what we've decided, as I mentioned at the top, so we picked 12. We're gonna make a really great Kiss album with 12 tracks, all from the solo records. And then at the end, there's a couple that I gotta mention, and I'm sure you have them too, Mike, that were like just kind of like just bubbling at below the surface that didn't quite make the cut because we cut it at 12, but if we went to 15 they would have been there, for example. So but so I should let everybody know Mike is legally blind, so he's going to be listening to his tracks in his earpiece. So just so if Mike's quiet, it's because he's trying to hear what he recorded for his cuts. So let's start off with you, Mike. So what are the two songs you'd like to see on a Ultimate Kiss record?
So, and again, we talked about this before. I kind of did it in order of each band member. I didn't mix it up, you
Okay.
know. So that's how mine's kind of gonna go. But it's going in order of favorite album to least favorite.
Right.
So my top two are "Rip It Out" and "Speeding Back to My Baby."
Right. Both
So
off of Ace's record.
yeah, both from Ace's record, and I still love those songs today. I still love the drumming, especially the little drum solo before the guitar solo and "Rip It Out." Like always
Yeah.
love. I think you and I actually jammed that a couple of times.
Yeah, I love that riff. Yeah, that's Anton Fig, man. I mean,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you
killer.
definitely can't go wrong. So those are my first two.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So what I do with my list is I kind of have them in a bit of a running order that I would have, you know, I thought about what would be the best running order of the record. So they're going to be a little kind of mixed up between the four solo albums. But funny enough, "Rip It Out" is my number one.
Yeah.
That I think if on a Kiss record as an opener, that would be absolutely a killer opener.
Mhm.
And another song to follow that up off of Paul's record, "It's All Right." I love that freaking song, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, Paul's vocals, for me, I think his best, my favorite, I won't say the best, but my favorite vocals on any Kiss record is Paul on that solo record.
I
I think
agree.
I think he outdid himself on there. And this is before he could worked on his voice where he could shatter glass, you know, in the 80s when he
Oh
was singing up here all the time, which kind of was a little irritating. But that was his natural voice, just belting. And I thought he sounded fantastic on that record. So yeah, "Rip It Out" and "It's All Right." There's a 1-2 punch right there, man. Two killer tracks. Two killer tracks.
Definitely.
All right, what do we got for your number 3 and your number 4?
Okay, just give me a second here. All right, so I've got "Snowblind" and "What's on Your Mind."
Yeah.
And the last time I saw Ace in Niagara Falls, he did "Snowblind," and it still sounded. It actually sounded better than it does than he plays it now.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that too. Unfortunately, I don't know. He just something's up with Ace because he
Something is up with Ace now, yeah.
it just somebody sent me a video clip, one of my heroes, and I'm watching it, and it was just sloppy, like his
Yeah.
vocals weren't good. It was almost like he just didn't want to be there.
Yes. Yeah. Ace, and I mean, I have he's got two guys in his band that I've had on the show, right? Ryan and Jeremy, and man, it's like these guys are out there working their asses off and whatever, and trying to put on the best show. And Ace, yeah, it's like he doesn't. It's like he doesn't even want to be there. And yeah, his playing is, I've seen Ace live solo. I think 3 times, maybe 4, but 3 that I can remember. And
Actually, sorry, go ahead.
the first time I saw him was he was playing a club here in Toronto. And I remember it was real disappointing because this is when he had Richie Scarlett, and Ace did not play one solo on that, and I couldn't believe it. Richie Scarlett was playing all the solos. I'm like, what the hell, man? And then I saw him again in Queens Quay, and I can't remember the name of the place. And I was like really, really close. Like I could if I reached out, I could touch his guitar. That's how close I was. And he just blew me away. He was perfect. It was incredible. I'm like, holy shit. This guy's just, discovered the fountain of the youth or whatever. And he played unbelievably. And as a guitar nerd, like I'm watching his hands and, because I grew up with that. Like you with Peter Criss, it's me and Ace Frehley, right? It's like this is the guy that, I try to sound like, or, try to get the techniques and all that. And the guy was absolutely fantastic. And then we saw him in New York,
Mhm.
if you remember that.
Yeah.
And that was already kind of like, he was still good, but not great. I thought that was kind of on a little bit of the edge. But from the videos that I've seen currently, yeah, it's yeah.
It's disappointing to see that, and you wonder what it would have been like if he did rejoin the band. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm I'm a diehard Kiss fan through and through, and I've never really been the biggest Tommy fan.
Mm.
But having said that, at least Tommy plays it clean.
Yes.
It's not sloppy. He remembers all the parts.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to give him credit, but it's just disappointing because you see some of the recent videos and you're like, well, man, like, would it is that how he would have played if he rejoined Kiss again? Because when they were originally talking about doing the end of the road tour, I mean, Ace thought he was going to be ass. He's like, I'm ready to do it. I'm better. I'm clean, and which he is and stuff.
He is. Yeah.
But man, I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny you mention What's on Your Mind because that's a really cool track
Mm.
for your number four. I mean, it's got the acoustic, and then that's a really good. That's a great pop record, I think.
Yeah,
And
like yeah, that for me, like Ace's album, like from start to finish, is
yeah,
just like, you can't go wrong with anything on there. I think.
yeah, no, that's those are good picks.
Mhm.
So for my number three, I went with Mister Make Believe off of the Gene record. So Gene's got a lot of very Beatlesque kind of mellow acoustic stuff, and I just think that's a really really beautiful song. Right? You know, might not be the typical Kiss song, but I mean, on its own merits, I think it's a really really good tune. And for my number four, this is one of my favorites off of Ace's record. Is I'm in Need of Love.
Yeah.
Right? The lead break, I mean, all of the lead breaks in Ace's record are just so amazing. You know, it's just, you know, it's like a song within a song. Like you know, it'll turn into another riff, and it just takes. And I'm in Need of Love is a perfect example of that. It's like it just turns into something else. It's a tempo change, and then he just goes off, and the lead break on that song is absolutely killer. You know, absolutely killer. You know, but and we were talking, you know, you're mentioning, you know, should we talk about production? The one thing I'm gonna mention with Ace's record, and actually all Kiss records in general in the '70s, is, you know, it's frustrating to me as a listener, you know, knowing what I know now and listening to as many records as I have and so on, is that their production level was never quite up to par with bands of the time. You know, like Aerosmith's record sounded amazing, you know, and Aerosmith had Jack Douglas, who had worked with Bob Ezrin, you know, and Kiss kept, you know, they had that one Ezrin record with Destroyer, and then they started using Eddie Kramer, and Eddie
Yeah.
Kramer just did not make good sounding Kiss records. They were never at the level of their competition at that time, you know, which is unfortunate because when you listen to these records now, some of them haven't really dated as well. You know what I mean? They
Oh yeah.
should have sounded better. You
Yeah.
know, and the Ace record in particular, Paul's not so much, or Gene's, but I find Ace's record just, you know, just, oh man, it just, you just wish it had been done a little bit better, you know, because the songs are so damn good, right?
Yeah. In the day and age now of a lot of bands uh, remixing their albums, you wonder what it would have sounded like if it was remixed. And what
Yeah,
somebody could bring to that. I mean, they've done that with Pink Floyd, they've done it with the Beatles, they've done it with Whitesnake even. Like, they're remixing albums from, like, the 90s and 2000s now for Whitesnake, so it's but then
yeah.
again, are these albums holy territory, and, like, would people freak out saying, "No, you can't change the sound of it," but I think it would probably work for the better, actually.
Yeah, think of Hotter Than Hell with good sonics.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
Hotter
yeah,
Than Hell is an amazing record. I
yeah,
mean, it's top five for me, and it's like,
mhm,
man, even though that the record for the most part sounds like mud, but the songs on it are absolutely incredible, right?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. So that's my three and four. What have you got for five and six?
Okay, so for 5, I've got "Tonight You Belong to Me,"
Oh yeah, killer.
and then "Wouldn't You Like to Know Me."
Yeah.
I mean, again, Paul's voice is just he hadn't even peaked at that point, and I just think, like you said, he kinda outdid himself on this album. and I just, again, it was hard to cut out some of these songs, especially from Paul and Ace's album, but yeah, that's what I picked. And
Well,
Tonight You Belong to Me, like, I just think it's such a great opener. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably thought same thing. Like, it doesn't start off as a hard rock Kiss album, right? But it's man, it flows so well. And just as I remember when Paul did that song on the Live to Win tour, and it just, man, and his voice was incredible by then.
yeah,
But
he still had
after
it.
I should by then I should say it was
Still okay.
before that. But
Yeah,
at that point in time, his vocals were still like, eh, you know, he was doing like a million to one on that tour, right?
yeah.
I mean, and just it sounded incredible. So
Well, I didn't see the tour, but I have the video.
yeah, yeah.
From
We
the,
went to Pittsburgh, and I dragged my wife out to that show, and she was never the biggest Kiss fan, but you know what? After that show, I still remember her saying, she's like, "That was really good," and
yeah,
I remember she's like, "Oh, I love a million to one. You got to play," because she wasn't familiar with the whole Kiss catalog, just like the top, the top songs, the top 20, whatever. But like some
yeah.
of the obscure songs she wasn't too familiar with. But
But
uh,
on that video, they start off the metal part, and then as soon as Paul plays that riff, da na na na
yeah,
na na. Oh my god, it's just
yeah,
holy shit! What a killer track. Love that song, and
yeah,
and he had great players with him on that, right? Bob Kulick was playing on that record with him, right?
yeah,
He had all these L.A. studio guys with him on that. Well, he did half of it in L.A., half of it in New York, I think.
yeah.
But yeah, he had killer players, and that record sounds good. That record I think sounds better than Ace's record. Sonics, right?
You know what I found listening to, because I was listening to them like side by side, and the only thing that bothered me was I found Paul's album was lower in
Yeah,
the overall mix. Like,
it's
I kind of,
quieter.
yeah, which seems kind of weird. Like, especially I think I was listening from the '97 remasters, and I'm like, these albums should at least be at the same volume, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's true. That is true.
Ace's was nice and loud, but then when it goes to Paul's, and I'm not talking about just because it was Tonight You Belong to Me, like the whole overall album, I was like, wow, I noticed like quite a difference in volume of the album as a whole. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so what was that? That was four. Okay, so my number 6 and 7. So there's going to be a lot of repeats here. Um, yeah. So my number 5 is "Wouldn't You Like to Know Me."
mm,
That's a killer track. And
yeah,
then my number 6 is "Snowblind." And you know, "Wouldn't You Like to Know Me" is just a great up tempo, cool tune. The drumming on that is phenomenal, just amazing. And then Paul, like, just yeah, he's doing the whole "I'm a rock star" kind of
yeah,
type lyrics, and well, that whole cock rock strut thing that he does really really well.
mhm,
And and Snowblind has just got that again, that you're hearing the song. It's almost got a kind of a Sabbathy kind of vibe to it, and then it just turns on its ear for the solo, and it
mhm,
just again goes off in another direction, and it's just so freaking cool, man. But yeah, great. Those are two killer tracks.
yeah.
And I don't know. I don't remember if he did Snowblind in New York. Did he do Snowblind when we saw him in New York? No, he didn't. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he did Rip It Out. He did. God, I actually, because I had Vision then, so I actually filmed that show.
Did he? He probably did Rocket Ride though, didn't he?
Oh yeah, yeah, I did Rocket Ride.
Yeah, Rocket Ride's cool too. I love
Yeah,
that song. Yeah, the best part of Alive 2 is side 4, by the way.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right, so that's my 5 and 6. So this is your 7 and 8. What do you
All
got?
right. Take Me Away, Together as One.
No.
Yeah, I love that song, and
Wow.
I I gotta say, like, you can really tell. I mean, I guess for me, again, as the drummer, like, you've got some of those classic Carmine Appice drum fills in that song.
Right.
And yeah, I just, again, his voice, like, I don't know. I've always loved that song.
Yeah, yeah, his voice is, yeah, singing is killer on that. Yeah.
And it's all right.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I know we've jammed some of these songs too at rehearsal, and every time we
Yeah.
get into it, and the other two members, they look at us like we're from another planet. But
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do, I think I used to do It's All Right.
yeah,
I think I used to do It's All Right. Yeah. I got to remember that. I forgot
you
that riff.
know me as well.
What's that?
I think you and I jammed "Wouldn't You Like to Know Me?" Like you start playing the riff, and then I came
Oh,
in.
is Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? Not It's All Right. That's the one that we used to
Yeah,
do. You just do that and rip it out. And
yeah,
yeah. 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 I mean, yeah, the singing on that is amazing. And again, like well, I mean, the thing is, if you put side by side Paul and Ace's stuff, Paul's got like just a lot more going on musically. Like Ace's stuff is more like meat and potatoes, right?
mm,
But Paul's got all this, this heavy arrangements and movements and stuff. There's a little more going on, right, with Paul's stuff. But
yeah,
not to say Ace's stuff is bad. It's also very, very cool. But I like that Paul has that other dimension going on,
yeah.
musically, right?
I just to cut in quickly. I mean, I love Paul's album so much, and when Paul came out with "Live to Win," I don't know. I think my expectations were set too high.
Yeah, you and me both.
Just I remember when I heard "Live to Win" for the first time, I was like, because I mean, not only is Paul Stanley a phenomenal singer and guitar player, but he's a fantastic songwriter.
Yeah,
And just like, I don't know, even, and it's an album that I've listened to more recently, like recently, I'd say within the last couple of years, and it's just like, I mean, it didn't suck. It wasn't, but it was just, I think a lot of fans were looking forward to like his solo album part two. And you can say
yeah,
he's evolved and stuff. Well, yeah, he has evolved. He's become even a better songwriter. And I don't know, I found it disappointing. The tour was great. And the musicians that he had playing with him, because he had the musicians from Rockstar Supernova, or Rockstar in Excess. Well,
in excess, Supernova, same thing. Yeah,
and those guys can play anything. Like
yeah,
it was so good. I mean, well, you saw even on the DVD, it's the same thing, right?
great players. But no, I totally agree with you. Yeah, that record was, I think, pales compared to the '78 record.
Yeah,
Just pales. It's not even in the same, ballpark.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, real disappointing in that one too.
Mhm.
All right. So what was that? Okay. So my number 7 and number 8, I've got "Tonight You Belong to Me," which we've talked about already, and then I got to throw another Gene in there. I love "Man of a Thousand Faces." That's a great song,
Yeah,
and I think actually Gene's stuff is probably the best, probably of the four. I mean, Peter aside, but of those three, anyways. I think Gene's has got probably the best sounding record of the bunch.
yeah,
And that's was Sean Delaney produced his record, I believe, right?
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That "Man of a Thousand Faces." It's got a lot of big arrangements, a lot going on. It's just a really, really cool song, right? And of course, Gene, the makeup, "Man of a Thousand Faces," his whole obsession with Bela Lugosi and all that.
yeah,
But no, very cool. I love that song a lot on that record.
yeah.
So yeah, that made my top. That made number 8 for me.
Okay.
All right, what do you got for 9 and 10?
Okay. So now we're going into a little radioactive, where
Oh,
I come back with my same. I don't know. I love the intro, even though it scared the hell out of me as a little kid.
Hosanna. Yeah, yeah.
Man, why didn't he play that song at his solo show? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
And then I've got "Burning Up with Fever."
Oh yeah, with Cher on the phone,
No,
crazed.
that's "Living in Sin."
Oh, it's "Living in Sin." Sorry, yeah, "Burning Up with Fever." Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm burning up with fever. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Just I don't know, the verse reminds me of something that may have been on side 4 of Alive 2. So,
Yeah,
kinda
yeah,
that same kinda feel to it. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those were well. I mean, if you want to say the real rock songs on that record
Mhm.
is "Radioactive," "Burning Up with Fever," and "Living in Sin." That's basically. Oh, and "See You in Your Dreams" too. They
Yeah,
redid that one. I
yeah.
actually prefer the version on "Rock and Roll Over" because it's got that Killer Ace solo on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
see, I don't know, I kinda like Gene's version.
yeah, it's a
So,
little looser. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
little looser. Yeah. All right. So my number 9 and 10. Going back to Paul here for "Love in Chains." That's just a killer song. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, killer. And you mentioned this earlier, "Speeding Back to My Baby" off of
Yeah.
Ace's record. So yeah, yeah, just two fantastic, just fantastic cuts, man.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, yeah, and again, "Speeding Back to My Baby." That's the one that's got the heavy drum right before the solo, right? That's "Speeding Back to My Baby." I always get that one and "Rip It Up" confused. I think that's the
Oh,
one,
Rip
right?
It Out.
There's a "Rip It Out" that's got the okay.
Yeah,
Always get those two songs confused
yeah.
because they're like one next, yeah. But yeah, two killer tracks again off those guys' records.
Mhm.
All right, man, we're down to the
Alright, drum roll.
final two. Drum roll.
Okay. So for number 9, I have "See You in Your Dreams" from Gene's.
Ah, okay.
Now, this is gonna be kinda controversial, but I had a real hard time putting a Peter song on this list because I was like, "Ugh." It was like I took it off, put it on, took it off, put it on, and I was like, "Man, you know what? I gotta at least give him a little bit of credit 'cause, I probably wouldn't have been a drummer if not for him." So, I put "You Matter to Me."
Oh my, with the cheesy keyboards.
You know what? It's got, like, a '70s vibe to it. Like, I don't know, I used to like, "I Can't Stop the Rain," like, I remember that having, like, such a great chorus, and I went back and listened to it, and I was just like, I don't know.
Oh my god.
Like I said, it was tough. I didn't even wanna put it on there. I was gonna say that this would be my 13th song if this was a Japanese import. So, but I put it on there, so I don't
You
know.
still matter to me.
Well, it's better than, well,
What, tossing and turning or
I mean,
hooked
yeah,
on rocking around? Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just yeah,
It's crazy that to
that
do.
that's my song, I'm sticking to it.
We got the oh, I know you have it too. The bootleg from the Dynasty tour, and they all had to play a song off their solo
Yeah,
record, and
yeah,
there's Peter dun 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 dun. Couldn't sleep at all last night. Doo, doo,
yeah.
doo, doo, doo. Oh my
You
god.
know, it's funny though, as years went by, I mean, Ace was always like a killer guitar player. Like even when you listen to some of the stuff that he did back then, it's still great.
It is
But
great.
as I became a drummer and like a seasoned musician, I go back and I listen to, Peter. I remember listening to Peter Criss's drum solo on Alive 2, thinking like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing ever," and it it
Right.
did it did what it did for me when I was a little kid, you know, uh, rating him as a drummer now, it's very difficult, but, you know, it's because of him I became a drummer, and, like,
No, I hear you. I hear you.
I go
But
back and listen to some of those solos and stuff. I mean, having said that, he did play a lot better in the '70s. Then again, he was younger too, but a lot younger.
yeah.
So,
Well, it's funny when we do rock and roll all night. And I'm like, okay, Peter, and you get, call me Peter Chris.
well, it's just
Call me Peter Chris.
again, it's like, am I playing the Peter Criss version? Am I playing the Eric Singer
Yeah.
version or the Eric Carr? It's kind of like, there's so many different versions, but yeah, it's still a fun song to play.
By the way, folks, if you want to hear Mike and I playing in the band Rebel Charm, if you go to my playlist under live, there's all kinds of Rebel Charm stuff there. So go check that stuff out. And just recently, I put out the our rock and roll all night from the rehearsal from about 3 weeks ago. And actually, Ain't Talking About Love went up like 3 days ago.
Oh,
So
really?
there's lots of stuff. Yeah, lots you can hear Mike's drumming on all that Rebel Charm stuff. So all right, well done on my last two. So this is kind of titled properly, but my number 11 is Goodbye
Mhm.
from Paul. I just love that riff. Dun, 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 dun. It's just a killer tune. And the verses and his vocal again is just stellar. And I had to close it with my favorite Ace instrumental.
Uh,
The very first one, which was the best one for me anyways, Fractured Mirror
yeah,
is just I can listen to that I don't know how many times and just that I love that song. I mean, he's done some instrumentals, he did on Anomaly, I think yeah, Anomaly he did was that the one he did I always get his records mixed up. This
you know
is
me
newer
too.
stuff. But Anomaly is the one that he's got Genghis Khan, which is also very cool. And then he does one space is a Space Bear or something, or is that another record? I don't know.
It's
Anyways,
all
yeah, it's the newer. I'm the old stuff. Yeah, because you grew up with it, but the newer stuff is all kind of mangled with everything else. But
yeah,
I still like Fractured Mirror. I think it's the best instrumental he ever did, and
yeah, I agree.
it's absolutely killer. So, well,
I like all your picks.
yeah, Peter didn't make the cut.
Yeah,
He
and
didn't make the cut.
I had goodbye on my list.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. That was one of the ones that I took off, and I was like, should I take it off? And uh, yeah, I don't know. It's gonna come back and haunt me about that 12th song, that Peter Criss one. I'm gonna be like, why did I do that? No, but I don't know.
Well, we did. I mean, there's a bunch of what do you call it? Notable mentions on all the records.
Yeah,
So there's a bunch that almost made the cut. So like off of Gene's record, I really like "Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide."
yeah.
That's got some really nice arrangements and some drama going on in that record. That would have been close. More, "See You Tonight."
I had that on my list too.
Yeah, but I think "Always Near You," maybe because I've heard "See You Tonight" too many times because they did that on the unplugged, right?
But you know what? I thought that version was really good.
On the unplugged,
See You
yeah.
Tonight. Yeah.
The only one that would have made it for me off of Peter, and you mentioned it earlier, "I Can't Stop the Rain." That
Mm.
would have made it. That would have made it.
I was
If I was going
yeah.
to like 15, if we went to 15 or 16, that might have been like that might have just snuck in there, but and Ace's record, I'm just looking at the what else would have What's on Your Mind was like that was really, really close.
Mhm.
Um Yeah, that's basically it. Maybe What's on Your Mind. I never need to hear New York Groove again. I never liked that song to begin with.
Yeah, me
Never
too.
liked it.
It's funny, as a kid, I always thought he wrote that song.
Yeah, yeah, that was Russ Ballard. And from Paul's record, let's see. Uh, yeah, maybe Take Me Away Together as one. That might have snuck in there.
Yeah, man, I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
vocals.
that's got a great vocal on it. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love the drumming. I tried to put "Move On" there, but it just never really did anything for me. I mean, at least it's a up tempo song, but I don't know. I guess it's those backing vocals. Like I don't know.
yeah, yeah. So, what about you? Got any ones that kind of almost made the cut for you? They didn't quite
A
get in
couple
here.
ones that you mentioned again, unfortunately, because I can't see, I can't look at them on my screen now, right? So just I don't know. I did have "Living in Sin" on there. I've always liked that song. Um, and "See You Tonight." I had that on my list, and I started listening to it, and I was like, "Nah, it's not as good as the unplugged version." So I kind of have to take that one off, right? So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, off the Peter album, I sorry, man, it's "You Matter to Me," "I Can't Stop the Rain." I Tossing and turning. It's at least it's again, it's a kind of uplifting song, but I don't know. I was like I said, I hadn't listened to it in so long, and I thought, well, maybe I'll appreciate it more now that I'm, an old man, and But I was just like, yeah, man, I can't,
Can't
That,
do it.
he can still sing those songs. So
Yeah,
did you see the video that he posted on New Year's where he was singing "Dirty Living"?
yeah. Yeah, he sounded all right on Dirty
Yeah,
Living.
I mean, he can
You know
still.
what? My favorite Peter song, Kiss related,
Mhm.
is probably Baby Driver.
Yeah,
That's
well,
my favorite Peter
that's
song.
that's our both of our. I think when we did our top 10, that's "Rock and Roll Over" was number one for both of us, right? If I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
that's my favorite Kiss record,
Yeah,
and Hotter Than Hell would be number 2, yeah, for me
yeah,
anyway. Just gonna say hello to a few more people that came in a little after the fact. Spencer Cron, how are you? There's Half Ace. Frank Turzo, welcome. Just making sure. Christopher Sawa, how you doing? Charlie S, nice to see you. BP, there's a new name, welcome. Vincent Leroy, nice to see you. Fruitcake Tony, hey man, nice to see you. Chris Flood is here. I think I've mentioned everybody else that's in here. Just going down. And I don't have any mods in here, unfortunately, because I got spammed. But anyways, yeah, yeah. And somebody was mentioning earlier if I noticed in the chat somebody was talking about would Eric Carr's Rockology make any of these. Now I haven't spent enough time. I've heard Eric stuff kind of here and there in bits and demos, on YouTube and whatever. I haven't listened to a full album of Eric Carr's stuff, so I can't really say. I don't know, Mike. Have you listened to?
yeah. I haven't listened to it in a while. Some of the stuff, he sings, and he's got other singers on there. Like he's got Ted Poley from Danger Danger, and a couple other people. I mean, there are some good songs on there, but I'm just trying to think. Like, I can't off the top of my head. I can't think of a song that Eric sings that I'd be like, I'd have to listen to it again. It's been such a long time.
Yeah, and the stuff that he's saying lead for with Kiss was, I mean, Little Caesar. It wasn't a lot, right?
Yeah, Young and Wasted live.
Young and Wasted live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a killer track too. Yeah. So let me know if anyone in here has what their picks are for their favorite solo records that would make a great Kiss album. Let me know what your picks are. Throw them in. Um, oh boy.
I thought you were gonna pick "When You Wish Upon a Star" on the Kiss.
Oh
I thought that was gonna be your first pick. I'm just kidding.
no, that was another one where you kind of scratch your head, like, what the hell was that?
It was at the end. He just
Yeah,
opened with
yeah, it
that.
was that. Yeah. And apparently his voice cracked because he's crying a tear, or so they say in the studio. And I don't know.
No.
But yeah, and this is real controversial. But if I was to pick the 4 solo albums, I know everybody says, "Oh, Ace, Ace, Ace." No, man, for me, it's Paul. I like Paul's album the best. Ace is a very close number 2,
Mm.
but Paul for me is he's that's my favorite of the 4. I mean, if I was to rank them, it would be Paul first, Ace second, and then Gene and Peter. And
Yeah.
actually, I like those 2 albums so much that when we did the top 10 albums, I could have put Paul and Ace's solo record in my top 10 Kiss records of all time.
Oh,
That's how much I like those records.
yeah. No, I agree. And you know what? I mean, I put on my list for today, I put Ace down first, but it really depends what month it is, because I kind of flip flop between the two, right? So like
Yeah.
this month it would be Ace and Paul's second, but next month I might change it again. So it's like, and they're both amazing albums still, right? So,
Yeah.
but
If
yeah,
any
you like Gene third, and yeah,
poor Peter.
I'd like to be able to say Eric Carr as the fourth, but
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. So if anyone in here has not spent the time and going back and listen to those solo records, if you like Kiss at all, give Aces and Pauls a listen. And I mean, they made the best two Kiss records. Period. Like, well, not the, but top 10 Kiss records of the '70s are those two guys' solo records. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, unfortunately, they got lumped in with the solos, and I know a lot of people just kind of like, yeah, it's too much Kiss. But yeah, those are two lost gems. If you didn't give those a listen, because well worth the time to check it out.
And remember they came out with the Icons album where it was like it was a 4 disc collection, and
I
each
remember that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's got some of the solo stuff, but some of their solo some of their Kiss songs and some of their solo songs in each disc is, for that particular member. And then there was also the best of the solo albums that came out. And
yeah. I don't know who made that. Like, who did they
so,
get? Is there like everybody get a shake on that? Three Peter, three. Yeah, everybody got one. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, there's of course there's different versions, right? There's the Japanese version, the Australian version, the domestic version. So
and I'm sure you have them all, right?
yeah,
Of
man,
course.
I keep saying, okay, that's it, I got enough Kiss stuff. But then, I'm saying it right now. Once this tour is over with, you're gonna see tons of stuff coming out. I mean, they've already started slowly with um,
Soundboard stuff.
the soundboard stuff, and then
Yeah,
like the 40th anniversaries. Like I got the Destroyer one and the Creatures one, and it's really cool. Except, man, I wish they would get like you and me to put these things together, because there's a couple of missed opportunities there. Like for the Creatures,
yeah,
there should have been a DVD in there for sure. At least put the Rio show. Yeah, everybody's got it, and it's on Kissology and it's on YouTube. But I mean, they have to have a Pro Shot Creature show.
yeah.
They
Well,
have,
there's a couple of tours. There's that one, and there's an Asylum Pro Shot would be nice, right? Because I don't think there's a really good Pro Shot full show of Asylum. Actually, even look it up, right? Is there a good quality Pro Shot of those tours that I'm unaware of? Maybe. I think Mike just froze on us. All right. Well, anyways, folks, thanks for tuning in. Mike is frozen on me. So, on behalf of Mike and myself, thanks for watching. So, coming up next week on the channel on Wednesday, it's going to be myself and Pete Pardo, and we're going to be doing a ranking of our 5 favorite our 5 favorite Styx albums. So check out that show next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Thanks everybody for watching. You guys rock, and have a good rest of your week. All right, see you next week. Cheers.